In the name of our Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Amen. Good morning, St. Peter's. I want to start by thanking Father Dirk and all of you for having me here today. While I am the daughter of a priest, I am not the priest myself, so I don't get to do this too often, but love being in community with other churches around the diocese in this way. Father Dirk shared that your stewardship theme is Psalm 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and all those who dwell therein. This theme speaks powerfully to the idea of stewardship, the recognition that all we have and all we are belong to God. Recently, I had the opportunity to truly soak in the beauty of God's creation on a pilgrimage with 21 fellow Episcopalians along the Camino de Santiago in northern Spain. We walked the Camino Ingles, or the English Way, a journey of around 75 miles over 5 days to the shrine of the Apostle James in the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. To put it in context, that would be like walking from here to Atlantic City. While I'm active, this was by far the most physically demanding activity I've ever undertaken. Walking 15 miles a day up steep hills through rain and fog tested me in ways I did not expect. But amid the fatigue, the blisters, the moments of frustration, I experienced God through the community that formed around us. The pilgrimage wasn't just about walking from one place to another. It was about being there for each other. When some of us fell behind, others sent texts warning of steep hills, pointing out where we could find a much-needed cafe or the all-important bathroom. When one of our members had to go to the hospital due to infected blisters, we rallied around her, just as we did for those who needed help navigating the rough terrain. In those moments of exhaustion, God reminded me of my great-great-great-great-grandmother who escaped slavery in Virginia with her 15 children through the Underground Railroad. She traveled over 800 miles, likely by night, without the comforts of the modern hiking gear I had. Her courage, determination, and faith gave me the strength to continue walking when I thought I couldn't take another step. When I reflect on what she endured, I realize that we walk this life not just for ourselves, but in the footsteps of those who came before us, fueled by the grace of God. We are truly our ancestors' wildest dreams. The sense of community, of caring for one another, reminded me of the true nature of stewardship. Stewardship is not just about money. It's about how we use all the resources God has given us, our time, talents, and treasure. Stewardship is rooted in generosity, and generosity in love. I experienced this firsthand on the Camino when we stopped at a small cafe. After hours of walking through difficult terrain, including steep hills, first in the rain, then in the scorching sun, we were greeted by a lovely woman who ran the cafe. Without asking, she brought stools for our feet so we could rest. And even though we hadn't ordered food, just drinks, she gave us bread with salami and cheese, refusing to accept payment. I don't normally eat meat, but this unexpected generosity was a gift. An act of kindness from a stranger that gave me the energy to finish the trail that day. It was a small, holy moment, a reminder that God's grace often shows up in the most unexpected places. The cafe owner wasn't wealthy. She didn't know us, but this act of generosity toward us and every pilgrim that she helped along the road embodied the kind of stewardship I believe we're called to. It was a beautiful reminder that stewardship is about using what we have, no matter how small, to bless others. I experienced this time and time again on the pilgrimage, from fellow pilgrims offering help with blisters, to strangers pointing us back on the right path when we'd taken the wrong turn, to a group of Americans who returned my husband's walking sticks that he accidentally left behind at the cafe I mentioned earlier. Stewardship is the opportunity to participate in God's work here on earth, to be his hands and his feet. As St. Teresa of Avila said, Christ has no body now but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks with compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands through which he blesses all the world. God should do this work alone, but he calls us to be part of it. What a gift. What a privilege. This is where stewardship comes in. Presiding Bishop Michael Curry called it generosity of heart, generosity of wallet, and generosity of calendar. Generosity of heart, meaning opening ourselves up to others in love and compassion, even when it comes at risk or inconvenience. It means reaching beyond ourselves to serve others in ways that make a real impact, just as I experienced on the Camino when strangers offered help, direction, and encouragement. I'm reminded of the courage and compassion of those who helped my great-grandmother and her children. Along their journey of over 800 miles, they relied on the kindness of families who provided shelter, food, and protection. These people risked their own safety, knowing that helping meant that they too could face imprisonment or even death. Yet they opened their hearts and their homes, not just for reward, but out of a deep commitment to justice, mercy, and the belief that all people deserve freedom. This powerful example of generosity embodies the call to be the hands and feet of Christ in the world. Whether we open our hearts to help those in our local community or support the church's mission globally, generosity of heart is at the true core of true stewardship. Generosity of wallet, of course, understanding that our financial resources are gifts from God, meant to be used to help others and to support the church. As William Temple, former Archbishop of Canterbury, said, "The church exists primarily for the sake of those who are still outside it." Our giving allows the church to bring God's love beyond these walls. And finally, generosity of calendar, of course, giving our time and service to God's work. It's easy to become consumed by our busy lives. I know I have 2 children, 10 and 11. But stewardship calls us to make time for God, for our community, and for those in need. As I reflect on my Camino journey, I see how God calls us not just to walk with him, but to walk with each other. Stewardship is about community, about coming together to do the work of Christ in the world. And when we open ourselves to God's call, when we offer our hearts, our wallets, and our calendars, we become part of something far greater than ourselves. So today, as we reflect on stewardship, let's commit to giving generously, not of our money, not just of our money, but of our hearts and our time. Let's commit to being Christ's hands and feet in the world. And let's trust that through our generosity, God will bless others in ways we can't even imagine. Thank you, St. Peter's, for being a generous community. Together, let's continue to do God's work in our world. Amen.